My friends, the great challenge in life is consistency. It's not the big things that get us, but rather the dailiness of life that wears us down. I used to have a little sign that said, "Don't miss the precious present." You see, it's really easy to let the present slip by, unmindful of the opportunities before us. The unfortunate truth is that most people get sidetracked so easily, letting the days turn into weeks, the weeks into months, and the months into years. Before they know it, their life has slipped away from them. The great human challenge is to keep yourself consistent and on track for your dreams and goals. It's so easy to get distracted, to settle for less than you're capable of, or to procrastinate until your ambitions wither away unfulfilled. But I'm here to tell you today that you absolutely must force yourself to be consistent if you want to make the most of your life and reach your full potential. I'll say it again, force yourself. I don't just mean try hard or put forth effort when it's convenient. I mean being relentless and unwavering in your disciplines, doing the things you know you should do even when you don't feel like it. Because motivation and inspiration, as powerful as they are fleeting. The energy and excitement you feel after hearing a great speech or being struck by a brilliant idea soon fades if you don't back it up with consistent action. You need unshakable routines and habits to propel you forward daily towards your vision, even when the thrill is gone. You can't let a lack of motivation be an excuse to slack off and undo all your hard work. That, my friends, is the path to mediocrity. To avoid that siren song of giving up and settling, you must steel your willpower and force yourself to keep going day after day after day. It's much like staying physically fit. You can't just go to the gym once and expect to stay in shape forever after that. Building your body into something impressive takes consistent effort, eating the right foods, working out intensely and frequently over months and years. It's a never-ending cycle of discipline. And you can be sure that anyone you admire for their fitness had to force themselves many times just to keep up the grueling routine. The same goes for success in any major endeavor. Maybe you dream of being an entrepreneur and building a business empire. Well, I can promise you it won't come easily. There will be countless times you want to slack off, take shortcuts, or just give up entirely. The only way to make it through the inevitable storms is being so consistent with your daily entrepreneurial efforts that it becomes automatic, a forced discipline. That consistency keeps you on track when your motivation flags. Or perhaps you aspire to master a skill like playing an instrument, artistic painting, or competitive martial arts. Maybe you want to become a polyglot, fluent in many different languages. I can assure you these kinds of skills take years and years of painstaking, consistent practice to truly master. Any prodigy you admire for their talents put in hours upon hours upon hours of effort when others were slacking. Their consistency separated them from the wannabes. The hardest thing in the world is to force yourself daily to keep doing the same tedious disciplines that no one sees or appreciates yet. That's why so few people ever become genuinely great at something. They simply don't have the persistence and consistency to see it through the years of obscurity in the beginning. But those who do, they're generously rewarded with fulfilling their grandest ambitions, while most are settling for far. Now, any habit worth keeping helps me be consistent, but nothing has been more valuable than maintaining my daily routine of reading. Not just reading for entertainment, but serious study of the biographies, autobiographies, philosophies, and teachings of the most remarkable people in history. It's how I shape my mindset, sharpen my wit, and continually remind myself of the timeless truths and principles that have guided humanity's highest achievers. I read every single day without fail, first thing in the morning when my mind is freshest, for at least an hour before doing anything else. I force myself to this habit even when I'm tired, even when I'm busy, even when I'm traveling or on vacation. Over decades, that daily consistency has paid incredible dividends as the wisdom contained in those thousands of books gets indelibly inscribed into my psyche to guide my thoughts and actions. So start a morning reading ritual yourself, no matter how small, and guard it ferociously. Because those little disciplines you keep religiously, like reading just 15-30 minutes per day to start, will soon grow into an unshakable, consistent routine that produces outstanding results in your life. Another consistency that gives me strength is spending quality time with my family. I'm generally not one for mere pleasures and idle recreation, but having those traditions and bonding moments with my loved ones is sacrosanct. Regular date nights with my wife where we reconnect have kept our marriage strong for decades. Playing sports or just having silliness with my grandkids nurtures those precious relationships that fulfill me like nothing else. I force myself to balance working hard in business with being present for my family responsibilities and making memories with them consistently. It keeps me grounded and my priorities straight. And I can assure you, at the end of your life, it's not going to be your professional accomplishments you cherish most, but rather the depth of love you cultivated with your family. So force that tender consistency into your life too. You know, the older I get, the more I appreciate the people, experiences, and simple joys that bring richness to living. Laying on a grassy hill and staring up at the stars at night, feeling the magnitude and beauty of the cosmos we float in. Taking a long walk and being present with the sights, sounds and smells of nature. Sipping a good cup of coffee in the morning quiet while journaling my thoughts and plans for the day. These understated, timeless rituals I do every single day without fail. They keep me anchored to what really matters. Not just productivity and chasing ambitions, but actually being alive and human amid all the busyness. So look for those sacred pauses in your own days where you can breathe and be peaceful and present. Then force yourself to never let them go, no matter what. Life must have balance. Now, I want you to notice the common thread here of forcing consistency with my morning reading, with being there for my family, with never missing those little humanizing traditions that keep me whole. Friends, it's these disciplined, non-negotiable routines and habits that provide the very structure to reach our boldest goals, while also enjoying the journey of life. Because you know what happens when you lose consistency and let everything become a whimsical, random daily routine dictated solely by motivation levels. You get derailed. You have some good days, but they're always followed by slumps where you undo your progress. You live life in a maddening cycle of feeling inspired, working hard for a short burst, burning out, then having to start over again once you feel remotivated. It's a trap that prevents any kind of cumulative, sustainable growth. But those who force relentless consistency in their fundamentals, despite how they feel in any given moment, create incredible upward momentum in their lives that just keeps on going. With the right habits locked in as automatic, you make progress daily through the ups and downs. Your skills improve steadily, your work compounds year after year, your goals get consistently chipped away, and big dreams gradually turn into realities. All thanks to unwavering consistency. The magic truly lies in those small disciplines you refuse to compromise, no matter what. Your life today is simply the sum total of your habits and routines up until this point. So start installing new positive routines and stick to them unwaveringly while chipping away at your negative ones. It's the secret to redesigning your life from the ground up into the masterpiece you dream about. And the good news? Habits are formulated through repetition, but they can absolutely be reshaped and reformed through even more repetition of new. So don't tell me you're stuck in your current patterns. You most certainly can force new consistency upon yourself at any point if you're utterly uncompromising about it. Just start small with something very basic. You know you can absolutely follow through on consistently without fail for 2 straight weeks. Like flossing every night after brushing your teeth or doing 50 push-ups right after waking up every morning. It may seem puny at first, but you are ingraining a pattern of consistency into your life, one day at a time. Once you nail that down for 2 full weeks, add another new habit and another. You build new consistency on top of each small win, gradually raising your expectations of yourself, the compound effect of making just one improvement day over day. Over the long haul, is what allows ordinary people to blossom into extraordinarily successful and self-actualized human beings. I'll give you an example of how this works from my own youth. You see, I wasn't born into money or anything close to success. In fact, my family didn't even own a refrigerator when I was young. We had an ice box. Times were quite hard growing up. But I had a vision for something far bigger for my life than just struggling to get by. So I forced little Wyndham improvements into my days, one after another, year after year. In high school, most of my peers were content being C students, but I decided that wasn't good enough for me. So every morning before school, when my friends were still sleeping late, I forced myself into a new routine of reviewing the previous night's lessons for an hour, starting at 5 a.m. Was it glamorous or fun? Definitely not. But that one improvement in my consistency studying made all the difference, and I became a student where I was once average. Then in college, I took it a step further. While all my buddies partied hard every weekend and slept in hungover come Monday, I denied myself that lifestyle and got up at 4 a.m. instead to study for 3 hours before classes even started. A small sacrifice, but my consistency paid off massively by graduation when I was in the top of my class with a great GPA. My one daily improvements over 4 years made me one of the grounded, disciplined elite in my peer group. After college, I knew my deep hunger for learning and growth couldn't be satisfied with just formal education alone. So I forced a lifelong ritual of daily reading and study, which I described earlier, into my schedule. No matter how busy my life and career got, I was utterly ruthless about blocking off that morning reading time for at least an hour or two every single day, without fail to keep compounding my knowledge and insights. Was it easy? Of course not. Forcing that discipline was often uncomfortable in the moment. While my friends and colleagues were sleeping in, starting their days later, I had to drag myself out of bed to read voraciously before sunrise, day after day after day. But looking back now, that commitment to consistent daily reading and learning planted the seeds for all of my future success. You see, I figured out very early that extraordinary people don't accomplish incredible things through random, haphazard effort. They reach their full potential through the power of relentless daily disciplines, rituals, and routines, through forcing consistency upon themselves no matter what. Those small, unsexy daily routines and habits are what actually move the biggest ambitions in life from dreams into reality. The magic catalyst is simply your ability to show up and optimize your days through repetition of the fundamentals you know are important. I'm talking about forcing consistency in your workouts, in your study of your craft, in your spiritual nourishment through prayer or meditation, in whatever skills you're trying to hone in your rest and recovery routines too. Friends, succeeding at the highest levels truly is that simple and also that arduous. That's why so few ever achieve it. They don't have the persistence to force themselves through the unrewarding periods in the beginning before the universe opens up for them. The greatest thing you can do right now to see your goals and highest potential flourish is to stop waiting for motivation to strike. Rather, commit and condition yourself to show up and execute each day, no matter what. I know the simple daily acts don't seem that important or noteworthy. It's not exciting to force yourself to wake up early and read, or to build a body of work one brick at a time. It's not fun to force consistency in the fundamentals that nobody sees day after day, year after year. But I promise you, my friends, it's that level of stubborn daily discipline that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. You know all the gurus and great leaders and accomplished icons you admire? They're not superhuman aliens from a different world. They've simply realized the true power that lies in stringing together a lifetime of those little one improvements, day over day over day, by forcing their consistency to daily fundamentals. Even when it's uncomfortable, their capabilities compound over the long haul into something remarkable while the rest stay stagnant. So I implore you today to look at your own life with relentless honesty. What truly essential disciplines habits and routines are you willing to force into your days consistently from now on, no matter how you feel in the moment? How will you stop giving in to whims and distractions and instead chisel away at your highest potential through the sheer power of persistent daily habits? Ponder that. Write it down. Then hold yourself to that new standard without excuse or exception. The path has been laid out. You know what needs to be done? It really comes down to, will you have the internal fortitude to force consistency upon yourself, even when you don't want to? Will you make the decision right here, right now, to be utterly uncompromising in optimizing and investing your days properly going forward? Friends, I believe in you. I believe you have what it takes. You come from greatness, and your life story can be a remarkable one. You just need to do the work, put the reps in, and force the consistency that will make it all inevitable. Start today in rededicating yourself to your highest ideals and most ambitious visions. But understand, it won't come from random efforts. It will only manifest through relentless daily rituals and disciplines. Bring forth that iron willpower and grit to force consistency upon yourself in the areas that matter most, no matter how difficult or tedious it feels sometimes. I promise you it gets easier when the habits take root. And over time, forcing consistency in the fundamentals becomes your deepest source of strength, the foundation upon which your legacy and life's work gets built. So let's commit together right now to installing new levels of rigorous, unwavering consistency into our lives. I ask you to visualize and write down your new non-negotiable daily routines and habits for physical health, mental sharpness, spiritual rootedness, and your unique pursuits. And from this day forward, we force ourselves and each other to uphold those sacred disciplines, no matter what. We are relentless. We will not waver or make excuses. Soon, these new forced consistencies become joyous practices that uplift us. They put the blinders on and drown out whatever smaller temptations try to derail us. The compound effect gets activated and our capabilities start rapidly expanding. And as we stay ever persistent on that path, life truly unfolds into the richly fulfilling experience we always dreamed it could be. So what are you waiting for, my friends? Let's get started reshaping our futures through the awesome power of forcing consistency upon ourselves. Our highest ambitions await. My friends, I know at times forcing consistency on yourself will feel like a mighty struggle. The easy path of giving in to laziness and choosing comfort over growth will constantly beckon you. Believe me, I'm intimately familiar with that internal battle between pushing yourself to new heights versus settling for mediocrity. It rages within all of us. But I'm here to tell you, the discomfort is absolutely worth it. In fact, it's a necessity if you want to ascend beyond the masses and unlock your highest powers. You see, life naturally has a pulling force that wants to keep you stuck in inertia, repeating the same old patterns and living in a sleepwalk. But extraordinary individuals are those who fight against that undertow with every ounce of grit and discipline they can muster. It's like climbing a mountain, my friends. From the base, looking up at the massive summit, it can feel utterly daunting and hopeless. Your mind floods with doubts and reasons why you shouldn't even try. The easy thing is to stop before you start. But those who develop the mental fortitude to take that first difficult step up the mountain, and then the next after that, they're the ones who get to witness the breathtaking view from the top that makes all the struggle worthwhile. So let me be clear. Forcing consistency upon yourself won't be easy. There will be many days and moments when giving up feels so tempting, when sticking to your new habits is a grind and you want to slide back into your old comfortable ways. This is the make or break point for most people. When they meet the first real resistance to change, they allow it as justification to abandon the new disciplines and resign themselves to living at a fraction of their potential. But you, my friends, must decide you're no longer willing to succumb to that path of mediocrity. You're going to be a warrior who slays their inner demons of laziness, procrastination, and fear through sheer relentless consistency of effort. The discomfort you feel in sticking to the new positive habits despite wanting to quit, is simply the sensation of you expanding your identity and becoming more than you've ever been before. That's the price you must pay to join the ranks of the world's elite performers and achievers. They pushed through the grind and forced themselves to show up over and over again through sheer discipline until the hard work started to feel natural, until their habits transformed from struggle into ease, and a new level became their default herding mode. This is how human beings evolve and elevate themselves, not by playing it safe and always bound to short-term comforts and pleasures, but by courageously charging into the difficulties that cause you to grow, learn, and upgrade as a person. So when you feel that temptation to skip a day of studying, training, or creating because it seems too hard, view it as an initiation into your own greatness. The more you can make the hard choice that elevates you rather than the easy one that keeps you small, the more you prove your worthiness to take your abilities to the highest levels. This is the stuff winners are made of, my friends. The people you admire most in the world tapped into that inner reserve to force consistency upon themselves no matter what. Let their example light the way for you. And remember, the pain of consistent effort is always temporary, while the regret of giving up on your dreams lasts forever. When you choose temporary discomfort through hard work and steadfast disciplines, you're investing in your power and laying the foundation to produce works that will be admired for generations. When you procrastinate, you mortgage away your own greatness. So wage that inner war, my friends. Vanquish your fears and impulses that want you to stay small. Declare to the universe your worthiness of a powerful, impactful, and meaningful life. Then force yourself to uphold the highest standards and routines each day without fail through stubborn consistency. Because freedom only comes to those willing to impose that level of daily self-discipline. My own forced consistency spanned decades before my philosophies finally started impacting millions worldwide. If you had seen me when I was just getting started, it would have looked like a lonely man toiling away in complete obscurity through the unglamorous, arduous daily rituals of studying, writing, speaking, traveling, and practicing. I'm sure there were many times friends and family thought I was wasting my time or being foolishly stubborn. Why keep putting in all of that effort with no results yet? Why not just relax, have fun, and stop torturing myself chasing impossible dreams? The path I trudged was unrewarding for an eternity until suddenly all that accumulated wisdom and skills I honed over decades through forced consistency started materializing something world-changing. But my friends, I never would have reached those heights if I allowed myself to be deterred or talked out of it along the way. It took an uncompromising internal fortitude to keep forcing myself to show up day after mundane day to put in the work. There's no other way I achieve what I have. And now, having seen the miraculous harvest after persisting so relentlessly for so long, I can truly say the struggle was more than worth it. So draw inspiration from that as you force your own necessary consistency upon yourself now. You too will face endless periods of toiling away in obscurity where it feels hopeless before the magic happens. You too will question whether your dreams are worth enduring the grind for a while. You too wish to slack off because you can't yet see the big picture taking shape. But please, my dear friends, trust the process like I did. Know that as long as you refuse to quit or compromise your highest habits and routines, the exponential compound effect will inevitably kick in where it seems like an overnight success from the outside. Have the persistence and grit to power through the unrewarding early labor, and the heavens will have no choice but to increasingly open for you. So let that fuel you when things get tough. Let it strengthen your resolve to keep charging ahead, putting the reps in and optimizing your days through strict routines. It may seem like a steep mountain to climb at first, but I promise you, the view from the summit of achieving your visions and unlocking your fullest potential makes every single struggle absolutely worth it. It's the grandest earned reward and most empowering feeling to take command over your destiny like that. And you'll only get there by developing the mental and spiritual discipline to force consistency on yourself daily, no matter what life throws your way. So stay hard on yourself, my friends. Keep showing up and doing the work ceaselessly. Demand more from yourself each day than the last. Etch those new positive habits into your nervous system through brute force repetition if you have to. Because the truth is, the person you dream of becoming, that future self you visualize as confident, impactful, spiritual, and wildly successful, they don't actually exist yet. You only have the current version that needs to force itself through all the difficulties and remain resolutely consistent in constructing that future one, day by day by day. There are no shortcuts, just concentrated effort over the long game. So view everything you do through that lens going forward. Each morning you wake up sticking to your new routines. You're sculpting another brushstroke onto that future masterpiece self. Every workout or creative session you power through, you're bringing that vision a little closer to reality. Every time you resist an urge for instant gratification to instead remain consistent with your highest habits and disciplines, you're laying another brick of that idealized life you crave. It's a tedious process, I know. But what's the alternative? To be one of the masses who peaked in high school and settled for a shrunken, mediocre existence? Friends, I know you want far more for yourselves than that. So choose the path of the elite and force greater consistency upon yourself as the admission price. I promise the rewards both internally and externally that come from that level of relentless daily self-discipline are unlike anything else you can fathom. To look back one day and see how your consistent habits, routines, and rituals elevated your character and consciousness to staggering new heights, to experience glimpses of operating in that rarefied state of peak human performance that so few ever witness. This is the destiny awaiting all those willing to do what the masses can't or won't, which has forced themselves through adversity again and again and again with perfect consistency until it breaks through into triumph. So make it happen, my friends. The future you dream of can absolutely become a reality through that stubborn grit of forced consistency across every area of life and over an extremely long period. Just stay committed and never ever stop striving onward. Your highest ideals and magnificent vision awaits you